So I'm here today with Gurks Gurgur, businessman, entrepreneur, coach, and everything else.
And trying to obtain many more things.
That's it.
Yeah. Pleasure to be here, brother. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It's been a long time coming.
I know.
It was a good catch up. We caught up over the weekend, over a good meal, had a good discussion. And here we are today, getting it done.
That's it, man. Once you say, okay, let's do it, you just got to take the action.
That's exactly right. We're a man of action. That's how we bring things into manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it just remains as a dream, right? So when we endeavor to do something, action is most important. So we're having these discussions over the weekend as well.
Yeah.
And this just quite suddenly happened. I brought the idea to you, and it's quite funny because I was sharing my vision with you about moving inland and setting up a podcast studio and talking all about the circumstances of the world and business, fitness, to help the up and coming young generation.
Yeah,
leading them in the right direction and the right path. And here we are.
Yeah, man.
And thank you for securing the space. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and you do great things with riff recording and cinema photography, as well as directing, editing. So you're the man when it comes to these types of things.
Yeah, so I've been doing acting and filmmaking for the past years, and so I've got my own equipment and I work with independent productions. So when you told me about the podcast, I was like, yeah, why not, man? I've got the gear, I've got the time in my hands, so let's catch up and just talk about stuff.
Absolutely. Making it a reality.
Yeah, that's it.
The Rise of the Underdog was amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
I know I told you this a million times, but it was really good. A lot of my friends enjoyed it too, and it raised a lot of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
I got to learn a lot about Mac. Didn't really get to have a chat with Mac. So Mac, if you're watching this, I'd like to be able to connect with you at some point and have a chat. I hear he's a great person to work with as well.
Oh, 100%, man. It was a great opportunity for me to work with him as a cinematographer in his film. And the experience just to be on set and sharing with amazing people, amazing casting crew, and just having the opportunity to show my skills, and Mac trusting me to be the cinematographer and editor for the film.
Yeah.
So it was a great opportunity, and being on the Gold Coast, having this chance as an upcoming filmmaker is just amazing. So I'm very grateful.
And The Rise of the Underdog, that was all shot on the Gold Coast?
Yeah, so we shot mostly Gold Coast in Brisbane, so around here.
Yeah. Because I remember some scenes, it looked like it was overseas.
Yeah.
So I was like, when did you guys travel overseas? Like, it was all shot here.
Yeah, man.
So crafty.
Well, that's the magic of the cinema, isn't it?
Yeah, very crafty. It looked like as if you were in a different country, though.
Yeah.
It looked really good. Yeah, nice. And is there more projects coming up?
Yeah, 100%. So we have more projects that we are developing right now, and everything is kind of, early stages. And we have other bigger projects that we're looking to the future.
Yeah.
And so one day at a time, that's how we do it.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, knock them down as they come.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, nice.
And what about yourself? What big projects do you have, or what's something, in your career that you're looking forward to?
Oh, there's a lot going on this year. Yeah. There's a lot going on. Since the last podcast, I've had a lot of inquiries on, when's your next podcast coming up? We like what you discuss, the topics, and so this was one thing that I wanted to do this year, and it happened to be the first thing I've done this year. Okay. Working on some new products. Very exciting to say the product I'm working on is going to be. I was touching on it a little bit over the weekend with you. It helps to stimulate stem cells in the stomach and brain. Very good for immune system defense, natural energy without caffeine, and it's got so much more of the benefits. And so, as you know, we do innovative products. So a lot of time, research goes into the products before they are released. So it's taken me a while to work on that product. It's now been close to 13, 14 months. But I don't like to rush the product. Obviously when we bring it to the market, it's very important that it's got high quality, it's tested, third-party tested, people enjoy it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of products in the market that, they have some ingredients that are not that beneficial for yourself, but people don't really know about it. They're not aware of the ingredients. So when it comes to a product that you want to put in the market, you want to put something better that will benefit your customers.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of products out there that's it's very well marketed. So when people buy them at a premium cost, they don't really see the results straight away. They see the results over a period of time.
Yeah.
With the products that I sell, I like for the results to come through almost immediately or in a short term. That way they can benefit from it. For example, like the grass-fed whey protein isolate. And by the way, our protein was the first release in 2017. Even when you type it into Google or ChatGPT and type in which was the first grass-fed whey protein isolate, it detects 2018. But re-released in 2017.
Oh, wow.
So, and we want to, I can't stress that enough that, we were the first in the market. A lot of product research and development went into that product. And then we have the world's first organic melatonin Sweet Dreams formula, which helps with, restful sleep, easing the mind, calming the body, and putting into deep restful sleep. And then we also have the Lion's Mane Cordyceps blend, for those who don't really want to drink coffee in the morning to wake up naturally. Helps with heavy metal detox from the body. A lot of people need it now, especially after the last couple of years of everything, all the craziness that's been going on.
Yeah.
And then it's good because people are waking up to how there's preservatives, artificial colors, and even heavy metals in our food. So it's good to detox that out of the body. So then we can think clearly.
Yeah.
And to be able to process things better, to think for ourselves and not kind of just be told what to do, as a lot of people have been. As you know, a lot of people are fear-driven.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And like you can see, like you mentioned, nowadays, a lot more people are waking up to that.
Yes.
And it's great to see that they're choosing better instead of just buying from anywhere.
Yes.
They choose the best quality and organic food and things that will, benefit them and not just something to, put in my stomach because I'm hungry.
Exactly.
It's actually, I need something that will be nutritious for my body. Then, they look for something better. And it's great to see more and more people awaking to that.
Exactly. And the other thing is too, it's funny to me because, and I always mention this, organic food, it shouldn't cost more. It should actually cost less because there's not a process going through it. There's no picking at putting it through a process through the manufacturing facilities where you've got waxing going over it and making it look shiny. And, so there's no pesticides. So there's no rotting that's happening. And it's full of all these nasty things, and so, I look at it in this sense, if the apple's coming from the tree and you're packing that and you're putting it into a box and you're simply sealing it up, why is it costing us a lot more?
Yep.
So, and now that it's coming to light that unfortunately the pharmaceutical industry wants to keep us sick and dulled down. So then therefore, we're always going back and seeing our GP, which is very quick to write us painkillers and scripts and then getting paid for that. And now a lot of that's coming to light, whether it's in the Western world now with Trump being in ahead of that and shining some light on that with Robert Kennedy, where they're now going into it and saying, hey, we need more transparency. We need transparency in pricing, in what's being sold, the detriments of the pharmaceuticals that, that's being prescribed. And so all of that's coming to light, which is really good because health is wealth, without health, we can't enjoy anything.
Definitely.
And so, so that all that's starting to shape up real well. And I always urge people to source the most natural and healthiest foods if they can. It is challenging, but another little tip that I used to do in times of hardship was, if you get stuff from the supermarket or at the bulk, if you bulk buy it at like the farmers markets and stuff like this, putting vinegar in your water, right, and then putting all the fruit in there and letting that sit there for a little bit and soak out, getting all the waxes removed and pesticides out of the fruit, and you can actually see how musky and dirty the water becomes. So, and now that people are waking up to this, it's becoming more and more and more better. And, we're able to shine light on that and talk about it and lead people in the right direction.
Definitely. Yeah. And it's all the information that, we are able to share and people are sharing nowadays with social media and everything. Yeah. So there's more access to the information. So it's a bit easier to just go and search for something instead of being in the dark and not understanding what's happening.
Exactly.
Because information goes so quick.
Yes.
And with the internet and everything, like you can reach the other side of the world in just a second. So
TikTok.
Yeah.
In 30 seconds, you get to learn so much. And it's crazy because even though it's a good thing, it's also reduced the attention span of some people because now it's just like one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing. Yeah. And I think what's going on is some people really stop and either learn from it, or they just kind of watch it and just disregard it and they keep going on. But the good thing is there's a lot more of it out there, like you said, and AI is now out there where people can research these things. I mean, there's no excuse. I mean, we're all born ignorant, right? We're not born with knowledge. So throughout life, it's up to us to do our research and due diligence to see what's beneficial for us. What may work for somebody may not work for me. Like, for example, with nutrition, for example, right? Like I've had heavier clients back in when I was doing the supplementation and nutrition, and I was working with a lot of athletes, everyday people. Someone would come into me and they'd be diabetic and they'd say, I can't lose weight, I need help. I went to my doctor and he's prescribing me insulin. And I'd say to them, look, try this. And I'd give them a ketosis-based nutrition. 12 weeks later, they've lost all the weight, they're healthy, they're not diabetic. And then the doctor would tell them, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize that a nutritionist is very different than a doctor. You can't go to a doctor to lose weight. They're going to prescribe you the Duramines. They're going to prescribe you the fast acting, pharmaceutical drugs that's, detrimental to your health. So there's always an alternative, healthier option. And there always has been, because as you know, Mother Nature has everything we need. It's just we need to reconnect. We have to source it. We have to find what works for us. And we have to do the due diligence of exercising, getting up in the morning and not looking at our phone, for example. A lot of people do that. And I can't stress this enough where, when you wake up in the morning, a lot of people, they say the wrong thing. And then now that sets their mood for the whole day. And even that is not a good thing, because when you get up in the morning and you don't look at your phone and you go outside, you get sunlight, you ground, you do your breath work or you practice meditation, all this is sharpening us. And to be able to have that clarity and have the energy come up through our chakra system, and to get clarity is all going to come through what we eat, especially with water. If we're drinking tap water to this day, our pineal gland's colossing over. It's not going to be any good. We can't think clearly. We feel bad. Our emotions are all over the place, and people are wondering why they're depressed, why they're feeling that way. And they don't know. They don't seek help from the right people. They go to the doctor and say, doctor, I'm feeling this way. And the doctor says, oh, you're depressed. Take this. And all of a sudden they're taking this medication when they shouldn't even be on that medication. And the cure for that could have easily just been sunlight, exercise, eat healthy, drink clean water, and they'll feel a lot more better. So these are the things, and I used to talk about this growing up when I was in my teens, and people just brush me off. What are you talking about? Just up until 5 to 10 years ago, I'd carry my water bottle everywhere, and I'd be like, man, don't worry about that. I do the same
nowadays. Everywhere I go, I have my bottle here with me.
Because we know what's in it, right? We know what it's clean.
Only filtered water, no tap water anymore, no anything.
Absolutely. And you know what's crazy? I used to go and buy the BPA-free bottles with the actual water from the mountain water and things like this.
Spring water.
So I used to buy them. I used to drink them, and then I found out that even though it's BPA-free, if you leave that outside, that's still going to have effects to the water itself, right? And it makes sense because water's not meant to be in plastic at all. It's not meant to be contained in plastic. So then as I started looking into it more and more, I switched from that to stainless steel. And carrying my water that's completely filtered, no chlorine, no fluoride, no derivatives of chloride and all these other things. And now I'm actually looking to switch to complete copper. Because did you know that our ancestors, they used to keep copper, their water in copper, because it would keep it bacteria free. It would keep it more cleaner. So this is the thing. It's like, why did we phase out all the most quality things from the past? And now we're in 2025 and we're drinking out of plastic bottles. And on one hand, they say that it's environmentally friendly and they're making us drink out of these, paper straws and all these other things, but paper straws carry so much bacteria. So it's like they tell us one thing, but then we're still using things that's harming us directly. And so
it's like going back to basics, isn't it? Like that people need to understand that we need the basic, like good food, clean water, and all these creative things that they started to do, and it's just detrimental for the human body, and it's not really helping anyone.
Exactly. There's no point in overcomplicating things. Because the basics work. Just normal garden food. organic chickens, organic eggs, organic meat. So another thing is like, you know how for years we heard how bad meat is, red meat's so bad for you, causes cancer, it's a carcinogenic. It's not the meat that's bad for us. It's how that meat's grown. Like if you've got a cattle out there and you're pumping the cattle full of antibiotics so it stays healthy, and then all of a sudden, they're also pumping hormones so it grows quicker, and then they're, taking it into a barn and slaughtering it, and it's got so much cortisol, stress hormone, when it's knowing it's about to get killed, and we're eating that, of course it's not going to be good for us. We're literally ingesting cortisol, we're ingesting the hormones, the antibiotics, and the food's never tested for that. You can look at any nutritional panel. It never says the hormone level, never says the estrogen levels, never says any of these things. The cortisol never says any of these things. So, but when our ancestors and, even just our grandparents, just up until 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and, they had their own farms, they weren't doing any of these things, and it was good for them. And people were living to 100, people were living to 90, people were living to 120. So all of a sudden, now the average lifespan is apparently 60, 70. If you live till 80, you're lucky. It's like the human DNA, it's like a hard drive, right? Like for example, when people say, "Oh, my mother had diabetes, so I'll have," it runs in the family. It doesn't run in the family. It's because you don't run in the family. That's what's causing the diabetes. And when people are aware of these things, you can literally change your DNA. So it becomes better. It becomes stronger. Another thing, do you know how, like for example, everyone's carrying their phones in their pockets? Well, there's numerous studies out there now. There's studies from Australia, America, New Zealand, Canada, UK. They all have done this study. It reduces your sperm count and it affects your DNA. So imagine that, right? You've got your phone in one pocket, you've got your headphones on the other. The Bluetooth is literally pumping through this to synchronize from one ear headphone to the right headphone, and it's literally going through your brain. And then now they're saying, "Oh, we've got elevated tumors, we've got elevated cancers." And the crazy thing about that is it could all be avoided. But under the guise of technology, we removed the cable earphones. Yeah, we made it look nice, but now at what cost? Our health. Right?
It's the comfort, isn't it? And we're all guilty because we all use the technology nowadays. We all have phones, we all have headphones and everything. Like when I go to the gym, I have my headphones on, so I'm guilty too. Everyone is sort of guilty, but
it's hard to find something that's quality. Like I was looking for like the wired headphones, and a lot of shops don't really stock it anymore. And they only stock the real basic things. So they're really giving you an option, like you can have this one, which is a lot lower quality. It's not really high quality anymore, or you can go the newest thing, which is, it looks better, it's more convenient. But this is what I mean. They make us choose from one option or another, and again, usually it's not good for us. And that same thing, it goes into everything in our lives. Like for example, people look at politicians and go, one side's bad and the other side's good, but it's like both people are usually trying to achieve the same agenda, whatever that may be, right? And we've seen that over the years as well. And same thing with what I was talking to you about over the weekend, when people aren't aware that Coca-Cola owns all the other soft drink brands like Sprite, Fanta, all these other things. So one person might go, "I don't like Coke. Who cares? I'm going to go and buy Sprite because I don't like Coke. I don't believe in them," right? But it's the same company. And I was also touching on this when I was talking about this to some people in the past, when I was pointing out and said, "Listen, you need to understand that on a global scale, we're given an option, and usually those options belong to the same individual, the same companies, okay, the same the powerhouses, the corporate companies. And when you really, take a step back and look at it for what it is, it's the same with media, where so many of them look like they're competitors, but it's all owned by the same corporate company. Same thing with fast food, same thing with a lot of these things. Even with like big brands, when you have the fitness apparel, and now studies are showing that by wearing elastin, polyester, and all these other things.
I was going to mention, because the quality of the material as well, sometimes, people are not aware that, the polyester and other things, they vary detrimental for the body as well. So instead of using that, you can use organic cotton or something that's more beneficial for your skin, for your body.
Yes. You know what they did? They did a study, and so the human, we have aura. We have the aura, and that's pretty much our energy projection. So the healthier you are, the more connected to source you are, and the more spiritually empowered you are, your aura is stronger. You know how when you can pick up on somebody's aura and you're like, oh, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah.
So with this clothing, it actually reduces that aura. It traps it back in. And so the body isn't able to emit that magnifying energy, which then attracts.
Yeah.
And also when I was touching on this topic and said, we're talking about law of attraction. And it's good to mention this, where a lot of my students, for example, they are always finding that they're stuck or they're trying to chase their dreams. And I say to them all the time, I said, do you know why you're not able to acquire what you'd like or your desires? I said, what's the definition of chase? You're chasing something that's getting away from you, right? I said, so, and this was my mindset too. I was always chasing everything I wanted. I was chasing the house I wanted. I was chasing the relationship I wanted. I was chasing the cars I wanted, and I never got it. But the moment I shifted my perspective and mindset on everything and started embodying who I had to become to attract the things into my life, I started attracting success in my business, success in relationships, and success in all other areas. So what I say to my students is this: you have to become who you wish to be with practicing that every single day in order to become that person. Only once you become that person and now you've acquired a different mindset, you're doing different practices, and you've shifted away from who you used to be and you became the new person, you now start to attract the things into your life that you want, because you become this magnifying force. And this is very true. A lot of people don't understand this. Like, I can sit here and go, like on my last podcast I said, you must feel, and then you must envision, and then you'll achieve. Some people say, yeah, but I sit there and I feel it and I envision it, but I don't get it. But what they don't understand is without the action, it's not going to become a reality, 100%. Right? But then they say to me, oh, but if anyone does the work and the action, anyone can get it, duh. But the thing is, what they're missing is you need to be aligned with who you are in order to be that. Best example is this. If you're not practicing to become that millionaire with the knowledge and with the practice of getting up early and doing your breath work, doing your cold ice baths, and attending the tasks and the schedules and all the things you must do, then if somebody just gave you $1 million and now you're a millionaire, you're not going to know what to do. Yeah. Because all of a sudden now you're like, okay, what do I do with this? How do I invest this? You feel confused. You feel stuck. You feel like it's overwhelming, right? So the universe really gears you up in order to attract and bring you the things that you want with that work. And usually if it's not done the right way, it doesn't pan out exactly as you planned. And the best and simplest way I can put this to the audience that's watching is it's like baking a cake. And this is the best example I can give. Because when someone gives you an ingredient or you see an ingredient on Instagram. So let's say, for example, we took shortcuts and we rushed the ingredients, okay? And then we then have to put that cake into the oven, which still has to become from batter to the cake itself. And let's say we rushed the process and we took it out, and now the cake doesn't taste as good. It's been rushed and it looks nothing like what we've seen in the recipe cookbook, right? But if we actually took the time to put in the exact measurements and the right ingredients, and then put that batter into the oven for the right amount of time, and then we pull it out, well, guess what? Because we took the right steps, it's going to come out looking and tasting as it should. And same thing applies with life. We can't rush the process. You need to give in your best and take the right steps in order to accomplish where you're trying to get to. Like trying to climb a mountain. If you're trying to rush to the top, you're going to get dehydrated. You're not going to be aware of the wolves and bears that's potentially hunting you down. You're not going to know, when you should take a rest, when the weather's coming in, when to set camp. So all of these things is literally, planning, strategizing, and taking the right steps in order to get to the top. Otherwise, you can't really get to the top when there's pebbles in your shoe causing. Of
course, and that's what it comes to coaching, because people, they're trying to find people that have already done something that they are looking for to do the same, or to find the recipe.
Yes.
Like, how do I get there, or what do I have to do to achieve what I need?
Yes.
Because if you have done in the past, then you can pass on to other people. Okay, I have done this, so this is how I did. Not everyone is the same,
Absolutely.
of course.
The
but
blueprint.
you have, of course, you give the blueprint and say, look, this is a way of doing, and you might get a result. Nothing is guaranteed in life.
Yeah.
We all try different things, and we all have different ways of doing things.
Of course.
But when you get a blueprint or a recipe or something, that if you look for something, okay, that's basically what I'm looking for. And then if you follow that, when you coach someone and they follow the steps, they can achieve a result.
Of course.
Some sort of result towards what they're looking for.
Absolutely. And I'm so grateful that I actually had mentors and coaches myself, because I for a very long time had a bit of ego. Not a bit of ego, I had a lot of ego. I'm not going to deny that. And we all come from a place, we have the reptilian side of our brain, unfortunately, the fight or flight, it stems from that.
We're still evolving.
Yeah, but the moment I switch from the fight or flight, like I can do it all myself, I don't need no one's help, I'm going to prove everybody wrong. And I was doing it from a better place. I wasn't really getting much traction. I wasn't really getting anywhere. But the moment my coaches really, broke me down, like I went to Singapore numerous times to be coached. And they were touching on all my trigger points. Like at the time I was losing hair, and they said to me, well, just because you're bald, does that mean something, does it? Is that going to take your confidence away? Or are you going to build your confidence based on your abilities and what you're able to accomplish? So they really started changing my perspective. They started changing my perspective, like every feedback is a good feedback, whether it's negative or positive. You can learn, you can continue to create and do it better. And they said something to me that stuck with me. And they said, if you fail forward, right? And there's a lot of truth to that, because if you aim for perfection, you never really launch anything with business. But when you actually launch and then people get to trial and test your products, whether it may be clothes, products that consumables, or even just what you do, cinema and movies, the feedback is going to allow us to do it better and come back better and continue to grow. And that's what it's about: evolving, growing, becoming better. It's not about I'm going to do this and it's going to be perfect, because no one's perfect. If we were perfect, we would have been created perfect. 100%. One side of my face is different than the other side of my face. So this is what I mean. It's like, this is our superpower, right? Like to be able to fully believe in yourself first, and then to apply that belief into the things that we're doing. So if I'm believing that, if I can feel that I'm going to make a product that's going to be, it's going to have a solution for people out there, and I'm enjoying the process, and we're talking about this over the weekend too, usually the money comes. Like you enjoyed obviously filming, editing, hence why we're here today, right?
Yeah.
And so therefore, if we're enjoying the process and we're getting better and better and better and better, and just focusing on what we have to do, usually the people that are looking from the outside in, they're going to go, man, this guy's really creative. This guy is actually putting in the work. This guy is actually creating some really good stuff in content and magic. There's a lot of informative content. There's a lot of educational content, a lot of intelligence. And that's when people start to go, you know what? I can learn from this individual. And we can learn from a lot of different types of people, young, old, people from all different types of backgrounds. And that's why we have to kind of, as a human race, even with the youngsters watching this coming up, to let go of the ego and let go of the whole, what's glorified in the music and then the movies in terms of, the whole violence and drugs and everything. And to really reclaim ourselves and find ourselves, because a lot of these actors aren't really going out and, being what we see in the movies anyway. It's kind of what's being portrayed that these people adapt to, because we're very adaptive. Humans are adaptive creatures. So when we see something and we want to become that, we can adapt to that. But whether that's positive or negative is also very important, because if we're adapting to the negatives all the time, we're going to have a negative outlook on life. We're going to have a negative crowd around us. And all of a sudden our life starts shaping up towards a negative, outcome. But if we're doing positive things, and usually when we do positive things, the success comes a lot, slower, because there's a lot more that goes into it, right? So when we start doing that, and we start to kind of grow to a point where the people we once used to know, if they're static and not growing with us, we start to kind of outgrow into a different circle of friendships, networking. And that's okay. It's not that we're too good for these people. It's just that we're growing to a certain point that they might not understand, or they might not be able to do. Their journey is completely different. Everyone's journey is different, right? So everyone's got their own timing in that regard.
Yeah, 100%. It's like we spoke before, and like we're all creative people.
Yeah.
And regardless of if I'm making a movie or if I'm creating a product or whatever it is, and when we put these ideas to reality, when we take the actions towards it, we make things happen. But it's taking the time and effort to be creative, to start to actually develop that creativity that we have inside ourselves, to put something into this world that we enjoy doing. Like when I started doing acting and filming, I realized that I enjoy doing it. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I can do something that I really enjoy and potentially make money.
Yes.
Money is not my goal. It's something that will come with the craft, will come with the work that I do, but I do it because I love. And all the people that I'm, meeting along the way, networking and growing together and helping other people. Because the thing that I tell people as well is when you help others, you help yourself.
Yes.
Because they need to achieve something that if you have a skill, you have something to provide, then why not help? Because that will help you as well. That will open doors for other opportunities. Absolutely. And it's been happening in my life since I came to Australia, where I see, I have a skill and I'm learning new skills every day. And when I can help people and I do so, doors open.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, so this is happening, and it's the synchronicity of helping people here. They help me there.
It's the divine universe.
Yeah, and it's just happening all together. And when you see you're doing the right thing and you're doing it for the right reasons, that's when everything conspires in favor.
Yes, absolutely. And like I was saying, the more we put in there, especially with positivity, the more we get. With that type of the way it comes back around to us.
Yeah.
And the world really works in mysterious ways. It's like when one door closes, another one opens. And it's almost always been the same, like, meeting new people. And at one point we might be stuck and feeling like we need to, we need that puzzle piece to get to the next level.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you meet that person at an event and you go, well, I was actually looking for this, and there's no such thing as
nothing's by chance.
I don't believe in coincidences, and I really never have, because it's not really a coincidence. It's the choices we make that ultimately results in the outcome of the choice we once made.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's not a coincidence. Like, a lot of people look at it as coincidences when they cross paths with people, but the truth is, if they didn't make the decision to be at that event, they would have never crossed paths.
Yeah.
So, and that's the other thing. Networking is very, very powerful, but also having the right guidance, people that have done it before you, where you'd like to go. Like, I was browsing sometimes I kind of go down the rabbit hole and I go through Instagram and see, and people's profiles are suggested to me. And I got this profile suggested to me because I was kind of looking into other, coaching platforms.
Yep.
I like to kind of see, competitors, what they're doing, bring ideas to my team and see what I can do better.
Yep.
And I looked at it and I thought to myself, hold on a minute, because now people are now aware that coaching has some decent money in it. All of a sudden, everyone wants to become a coach, whether it's business coaching, whether it's spiritual coaching, whether all these things, right?
Yeah.
And I came across a profile, and it was a young 16-year-old person, and they didn't really have much quality content, and they were very new to this. You can tell an amateur when they do these things. And this is just an example I'm giving, not to bash on anybody, but the way they do it, it's not authentic, because anyone can get a plane ticket to Bali and say, look, I've made it, I'm working from here and everything else. And then, you watch that person's profile for a bit, because usually people like to reveal themselves by not noticing. And then I realized that they're at work again 2 weeks later. So I think to myself, so why are you preaching a coaching package if you haven't really succeeded in any business? Because eventually it makes them look bad, right? So I always say that if you endeavor to be something, you need to embody it first, have that experience, have a level of success, and then lead. Otherwise, what's the point of leading? Why would anybody follow somebody that's got a leader that hasn't done it themselves?
Yeah.
It's like getting a blind man to drive.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, when I look into acting or filming, I always try to see the people that are working,
Yes.
that are, you know, in a level of not necessarily success, being like famous or star or anything like that, but they are working,
Yes.
you know, and they have something to provide, something to help. So,
Yes.
you know, if you need to do acting class, or, you know, if you need to study how to do editing or whatever it is. So people who have already done something that can provide that,
Yes.
you know, help that, okay, I can learn from, instead of just searching for anything. You know, nowadays, of course, there are so many, you know, YouTube channels and things that you can learn from. But again, when it comes to coaching specifically and mentors, you need to find the right people. Otherwise, you know, they can lead you to where you're not supposed to go.
Yeah.
You know, that will actually, you know, instead of using your time wisely, it's going to put you behind.
Yeah. Because
So
you're
when
wasting
people
your
try
time.
to find coaches like yourself, you know, that you have a history of achievements and you have done this for a long time now.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Because that way, if someone says, well, what have you done? You can say, well,
Yeah.
I've done A, B, C, and D, and this, and this, and this. And that way, it speaks for itself. You know, success will always speak for itself.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing worse than somebody saying, but I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and I've read this book and I know what I'm doing. It's like, okay, we can watch a soccer game, but it doesn't mean we know how to play soccer. Because watching a game and knowing how to, thinking that it looks easy and can play a game, then going out into the field, putting your soccer boots on, and then trying to kick the ball and then juggle it around a little bit, you know, and try to kick that goal is very different, right? Even what you were doing before, setting all this up. Like I was thinking to myself, man, like this is all confusing to me.
Yeah.
You know, connecting this and setting this up and getting the right lighting and organizing. It's something that, you know, would take a level of knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Because you know what you're doing. And this is the thing. It's like, I stress that people should always follow what they wish to accomplish based on what someone else has done. So then if that person's already there and they can learn from that person, it's a good indication, because now you know the right steps to take to get to the top of the mountain or to bake that cake, right? And that's going to be a lot more assured than to kind of signing up with somebody that's doing a free mastermind, going there, and then that person's now telling you, for $999, you know, you can come to this mastermind and I'm going to make you a millionaire and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And they haven't really done anything themselves. So, and this stretches far and wide as well, because I understand that, you know, we're in times where people are trying to make money and there's money to be made online, especially with AI. Like now there's faceless YouTube channels, right?
Yeah.
There's no one talking anymore. It's literally AI talking, and AI that's got the imagery, and it looks very compelling. It looks really, the way it looks,
getting
it
more and
draws
more
you in.
real.
Yeah, it looks real. Like I shared some with you today, and I want to get your opinion on it.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. I'm like, I can't even tell the difference if it's real. The way they're walking on the snow and the way they're recording and the sounds around the atmosphere, it all looked real. But we're literally so close to making it indistinguishable from reality that it's actually starting to worry me a little bit. Because imagine that. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and you're like, this person is wanted for murder, and it's you all over the news. And then you got people that believe in that, right? Because the thing is, say what's very important for us as a human race is to have enough common sense and logic to go, I will make my own decision based on my own research, and then getting the A side and then the B side, and then bringing it together and going, okay, what's accurate in this story? What do I think of this? And then making your own decision. Not just being spoon-fed because someone on the news said that you
100%.
have to wear a mask.
Yeah, you're gonna have your own discernment of things and not just let, you know, other people's opinion dictate what you think.
Exactly. And a lot of people are led in that direction. And it, again, the, you know, fight or flight. People are easily manipulated through fear. You know, fear of, you're missing out. You could be a millionaire, but you're missing out. Yeah, you're not doing it. So you should join up now. If you don't, you're a piece of shit, right? And so this is why it's so important to find your right tribe. You know, to find the right individuals that you're going to get amongst with and then succeed with, be able to ask questions with and not feel silly for asking those questions. And no question's a silly question, especially if someone's trying to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that's a good sign, you know? And that's the thing. There's a lot out there that's going on, but I think ultimately we need to kind of have a look and see what direction we want to go in life, whether it's health, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, and then kind of embody that, you know? And again, coming back to the whole embodiment thing and spirituality things, you know, during the whole movement I've done for the pandemic. And when I came here, you know, I was in a debt. I had to shut down my stores and go completely online. It was very foreign to me. I never had an online store that was, solely focused online to sell products. And now I'm finding myself competing Australia-wide by selling this product. And it wasn't as easy. It's very challenging. And when you set that up, what I realized as it started to kind of pay off over time, that there's a lot of small things that led to that big success. Like, I'll give you an example, right? So I started to learn how Facebook works. Like, how does the algorithm work? How does the algorithm put my products in front of the audience? And then what type of content does the audience respond to? And then on top of all of that, you have to also get an understanding of the back end stuff. Like, how does Facebook ads work? How do we set up the ads? How do we find the right demographics? How do we target the right audience so you're not blowing your ad budget? And then you have to find out how Google works. So you're expanding on that large audience. If you make one mistake, you can blow your whole daily ad spend, and now you've spent all that money and haven't made any sales. And then that can go over into the second day, third day, fourth day, and now you're in debt by, say, $1,000 or $2,000, whatever your budget is, and you haven't sold a product. And so now you're like, okay, well, I'm failing. So, and then going and learning email marketing, going and learning all these other platforms, which literally is a puzzle piece that brings together ultimately how the business starts to operate. Almost like a car, right? You've got the transmission, you've got the engine, you've got the gearbox. It all comes together to work together to drive the car forward. And this is very similar to business. You have to have the product validation, the solution, make sure that you've got the right story behind it. So then that individual is going to relate to it, understand the solution, and go, that's for me. That's what I need. Oh, look, I need protein. Why? Because I need to recover myself without body fat, without the excess sugar, without the hormones, without this and without that. So all of this is what I learned over that time. Well, as before, if someone walks into the shop, and then you got me speaking to them, and you just say, look, this is what it's going to do. They buy it. They trust you. They can see you. You're serving them. And they're talking to us, a real life person. But online is very different. Online, they look at reviews. They look at competitors. If the competitor's $5 cheaper, you just lost the customer. So it's very, very challenging. But this is another reason why this knowledge is not only important, but also how we implement that knowledge is very important. So knowledge without implementation is useless. And so,
and it all takes time. It's not just, one night, like you research and doing stuff. Like, it takes a long time to learn all these different platforms and different, statistics that you need to follow, research again, and then follow what's working, what's not, and then adjust. So it all takes time. And that's what people sometimes don't realize. That growing a business is not that quick.
Exactly.
And they need to understand, what they need for the business to grow. It's not just trying, okay, I'll put $10 in ads and it'll work. Like you said.
It's confidence, it's dedication, and most of all, it's sacrifice. For that whole year, I had no friends. I was literally in my mother's room, right, in the bedroom, and I was doing this course, I was doing this module, I was applying it, coming back, how do I do it properly, come back and do it, back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. And shout out to Nathan Chan, founder of Founder, which literally helped me establish my businesses online, because prior to that, I didn't have any idea. I mean, I had a bit of an idea and I thought I knew it, but I had no idea until I actually went online and wasn't making any sales. And then I started doing modules and how to do it properly, using the right hashtags, using the right, doing the right captions, working with the algorithms, how many posts you need to do, who to work with, how the user-generated content works, how to do all of these little bits and pieces to bring it all together properly in a strategic manner, and then applying that and making sure that it's executed in the right manner. Execution is very important, by the way. Timing is very important. And then to be able to see the results, and then all of a sudden you got some sales. Okay, now how do I scale that? How do I scale the $1,000 I made? How do I scale that into 5, 10, 15, 20? And then continue to keep doing that. And the other thing is too, you might get to a certain point and scale, and all of a sudden, because this is exactly what happened to me, iOS brought out an update. So now half of my audience on Google, I didn't know how to target the new iOS system for them to see my ads. So I'm like, well, how do I figure that out? And I couldn't find it anywhere. I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm now literally losing out all of the audience that has an iPhone, which what's the percentage of people that own iPhones? Maybe 70, 80%,
yeah.
right? So now I'm losing money, and I was doing really good. And as soon as the iOS updates came about, where Google has literally said to me, the new iOS platform requires such and such for you to access and show the ads to these people, I had no idea what they were talking about. So I was now missing out on all these sales, and I was starting to go backwards. So I made all this, I started getting good traction, and I'm like, yes, I'm finally doing it 6 months in. And all of a sudden it starts going backwards because the iOS...
You have to adapt to what's happening in the
market.
Yes,
adaptation. And that's exactly where I was coming to. So it's always adapting to what's going on. If we don't adapt, we're going to get left behind. Because AI is not going anywhere. It's here to stay. So we either work with it or we get left behind. And there's so many new apps coming out as well. Like people go to me, how do you have so much time to do all your posts and coaching and working on the products and all these other things? You can schedule your posts. Right? You can schedule posts, you can get it all organized so it does it for you. There's automated messages, for example. Like if I'm here doing this and someone goes to your website, there's AI that can literally answer all of the questions in real time. The same questions that they might ask me, this will literally answer for me. And based off, what it does is it's very smart. It scans all of your frequently asked questions. And then when somebody says, for example, do you have any specials on this protein? It will literally answer them back saying, yes, we currently have specials on this, this, and this. So that's the very minimal things it can do. And then there's so much more it can do. Like, for example, if it says, when's this product coming back into stock? And then if you've got that somewhere on your website, it will then bring that to the forefront and answer that.
It's a 24/7 help that people can just go and
and it's so much more cheaper now. Like I used to pay a blog artist, and this is going to sound bad to some people watching this, but so I used to pay blog artists on Fiverr, and Fiverr as a platform is pretty cheap. It's not too expensive. You know, you're not going directly to a freelancer. It's just a person that might be in India or might be somewhere else, but it's very talented. And you tell them what you want written, you tell them the topic, you tell them the fine details. And so I used to pay these people like $150, $200, right? Per blog, because a lot of time goes into it. A lot of research goes into it. AI comes along. You just basically write the topic. You tell them the key points. You tell them to add the keywords.
It gives you everything.
So now you've got a 1,000-word write-up in literally seconds. And it's got your keywords in there. All you do is literally get that, put that into a Word document, add some photos and pictures in there, put that online. Now you've got all your keywords, you've got a very good-looking blog, and you're building your domain.
Because the thing is with technology, it's how we use it, right? So there's so many apps and things that we are able to access for free nowadays that you don't have to spend too much money, or you just have to put in time.
It's cost effective.
It's
cost effective. You're putting in your time and you're getting so much more out of it. But not only that, you see, this is the problem. A lot of people are distracted with the technology. So they watch one content, and then the algorithm knows what it's watching and what they enjoy because I've been on there for a particular time. So the algorithm knows for a fact, if you're on there for more than 30 seconds, this person's enjoying this content, show them that similar content next. So all of a sudden you go from one content to another content to another content to another content. What's that doing to people? I'll tell you. You're wasting your time. You're not learning anything. And even if you are learning, are you applying it? The other thing it's doing is you're on the blue screen for way too long, messing with your melatonin and serotonin levels of your brain. People are staying up later, so they're going to bed later, they're waking up later. And the moment they wake up, they pick their phone back up. So they're always getting this endorphin hit. And then everything's gone online in that sense. So now the food they're ordering is online. You know, the relationships they're seeking is online. So we're starting to detach from our human essence of interaction, eye contact, feeling that person's energy, being able to speak, being able to share, and emphasize, and all these other things. And people are now becoming more and more distracted when they could use all of these technologies and to excel them in business and whatever else they'd like to do. Like, a lot of people are now they're only 13 years old, they're making money. I actually seen something today which blew my mind. There's an AI generated female. And this was crazy to me. And this AI generated attractive fake female is making more money than real people. Right?
So it's like this supermodel looking.
Exactly. It's literally a supermodel chick that's creating content and for subscriptions. and people are watching this thing that's not even real. And they're paying to watch it.
Yeah,
it's AI. And AI is making more money than what humans are.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of time AI is going to take over if we don't do something. So we can either use it to empower ourselves or we're going to get swallowed up by it, you know?
Yeah. And it all comes as well to, people watching, what are you spending your time on?
Yes.
What are you putting into your consciousness? What are you watching? Like, what are you listening to? All these things that, we put ourselves into our reality.
Yeah.
And then, okay, I'm going to waste 30 minutes watching, something that doesn't make sense. It's just like waste of time, literally.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to use my time to learn something.
Yeah.
Even if you want to use your phone or something, but using it in a way that's useful.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, if I have some time, okay, I'm just scrolling. Oh, okay, I'm going to watch something about filmmaking.
Yes.
Or I'm going to watch actors talking about their work. Something that will, help me in a way of what I'm doing or, in my journey that what I need to take the next step.
Of course.
Instead of just like sitting down, okay, I'm just wasting my time here. And that's what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
They just waste their time.
Exactly. How do you prefer to learn? Do you listen to audiobooks? Do you read books?
I like, I'm very visual. So I like to watch content sometimes. So when I watch people talking, for example, a podcast that's in video as well, people have interviews and, it depends on what it is. Of course, if I want to watch, for example, editing, I watch someone editing, how they do things. So I'm very visual, so I take that in.
Yeah.
But when I'm driving, for example, so I like to listen to audiobooks.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah, so people doing podcasts or
Make
interviews.
use of the time, right? 10 minutes if you're going to go for 10-minute drive.
So if I'm driving, instead of like, using the time to listen to music, which is good as well, don't take me wrong, but I like to use my time to learn.
Yes.
So if I'm driving, for an hour, I can listen to a podcast, people talking about businesses, talking about life, and something that will, help me in my journey. That okay, that hour was not wasted just driving.
Yeah.
So I could learn something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. The only time I listen to music is when I'm going to the gym.
Yeah.
or going for a nice good drive, summer night, after a nice beach day.
Yeah.
But generally, it's 70-80% of my time is on the same audiobooks because there's so much you can learn.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing is, like, again, it can drop to our subconscious.
Yeah.
And then we can be consciously listening to it and really learning from it again. And it can just be playing in the background, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that memory pops up when we're having discussions.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, well, and you can refer back to it. So that's there's power in that. And even with books, there was a study also shown in that when reading a book and actually looking at the words, and actually being able to read it, there's, for some reason, in a lot of people, they find that they trap the information a lot better than actually just kind of hearing something. I don't know why, but this was another thing that I stumbled upon, saying that reading for learning for a lot of people, and it also comes down to the person too.
Yeah.
If there's like the A and B side to the brain, and usually some people are different sided and they learn in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm the same. I'm very visual,
Yeah.
so I like to learn based on watching something and then taking that and absorbing that and then try to apply it in my life and see how it works. And take what works.
Yeah.
Leave what doesn't.
Yeah, 100%. And even like watching like a film or series for myself, because I work in the cinema industry. Sometimes I'm watching something, I'm actually paying attention to what's happening with the light, and I'm like trying to visualize how they did all the props and things. So I'm like, I'm analyzing while watching something.
Yeah.
So, it comes to that, what helps me.
Yeah.
Because even though I'm enjoying the series or the film, I'm still figuring out what can help me. Because, if I see something that looks good, okay, how did they do that?
Yes.
Or if they acting something, I'm like, oh, this is a good actor.
Yeah.
And I can, learn something from it. So it depends on what it is, of course. I'm talking because I work in the cinema industry.
Yes.
But for people that work in business and things, when people are doing well with ads and things, just, try to see how are they doing it?
Yes.
What are they achieving with that campaign or whatever it is? Because then they can go and try to learn something from it.
Of course, doing all your A and B testing and running multiple tests to see who's responding the most to which ad, where are they, what age are they, and then refining it, putting it back out there, refining it again, and then finally it's working for a bit more. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So on the movie, and I know that there's some projects going on. Mm-hmm. You can share what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, for sure.
So exciting. What's some things that you're working on?
Yeah, man. So we finished the feature film Rise of the Underdog, which a lot of people, local people, they have seen snippets of it, And we have new projects on the way as well. You know, there's a couple of movies that we're working on that I don't want to share too much because it's still in very early stages. But it's always good to have something to look forward to.
Yes.
You know, and when you start working in a project, it's always that excitement of, you know, how do we do this? You know, we need to create a script. We need to find actors. We need to find people, you know, crew to work in the production. So, you know, the cinema industry for me is really amazing in that way because every day is different for me. So it's not boring. It's not anything that, you know, oh, I have to go to work. It's like I get to go to work.
Yes.
Because I enjoy it. So I wake up, I'm like, yes, I love doing this. And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So having projects on the way, it's really amazing because it excites me to get up and go do what I need to do.
Yeah.
You know, that I need to, you know, discuss with the director, okay, what are we doing today? We're working on this scene or we're working on the script and we need to develop this and then we need to create an art or we need to create, you know, a flyer or banner or whatever it is, like work on the website or, you know, all the things that come into the pre-production stages until we get to set. So, but when we are on set, that's when I'm most alive, I can say, because I just love doing it. And being on set for me is just amazing because I get to play. You know, so it's not work, it's play.
See, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly why you have to find your passion and do what you're passionate about. Otherwise, it feels like work. And when it feels like work too much, you don't want to get up and go to work.
100%.
But when you're doing something that you really enjoy, you know, it's not really work. It's like you're doing it because you genuinely like doing it. And when you do that, disregard the money because that comes later on, right? And so this is another thing that's why the people always say, regardless of what content we watch, which motivational speaker we watch, which successful businessman we watch, they always preach the same. Find your passion that's going to have a solution and stick to it and do it. Yes, there's going to be challenges. Yes, there's going to be obstacles. Yes, there's going to be adversities. But no one's going to phone us and say how great our idea is. No one's going to phone us and say you should start a business. No one's going to phone us and say, oh, you know what? I think that's a very great idea and you should start a business and you should do it today. It's our decision. It's our choice. And that's why we must take the leap of faith. Otherwise, we're going to get to an age and we're going to have all these dreams. And the worst thing is you're going to get to an age of 70, 80, 90 years old and you're going to sit there on your deathbed and go, why didn't I do it? You know, and are we even going to get another chance at life? Right? So this is the thing. It's like if somebody really enjoys something, do it. Like there's a lot of people that's really good at just doing stuff around the house, right? There might just be someone that is good at repairs, that likes to build something. And they could easily turn that and monetize that into work, into business. I was having this discussion today with my mother and we're talking about how the quality of materials in the past, how it used to be a lot more higher quality compared to today, and how today they're a lot more expensive and they're a lot more rare. So for example, you go back 100 years, 150 years, leather jackets were more prominently out there, right? And they weren't that expensive. $100 will get you a nice leather jacket. And now if you found a leather jacket and it's $700-800, man, it's up to $1,000, right? And now you've got all this cheap clothing, everything's become cheap. And everything has become a lot less of it. You know, it's not as abundant as it once used to be. And I also genuinely feel that we're heading towards a nice golden era of abundance again because we've been in for far too long, we've been in a shitty era of oppression and suppression and, shortcutting and, all the higher ups always earning and winning over the backs of hardworking individuals to a point now that things are shifting. I can feel the shift.
100%.
But I can feel the collective consciousness coming along from young people, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds. People are now discovering going, well, I'm speaking to this person and I find I connect better with that person. I look at this person, they're only 25 years old. I was talking to this guy in the gym, young guy, and he's from a third world country. And the discussions he was having with me, I'm looking at this guy like, man, I'm glad to hear the things that are coming out of your mouth, in terms of, I want to do something for myself. How do you suggest I do it? Where is the opportunity in 2025? What would you suggest? These are the questions he was asking me, right? He was asking me questions like, do you have anyone that could, potentially find me a job and help me out? And then you also have the other side of that where, they're just kind of following the herd. They're not doing anything with their lives. It's insane. So coming back to what you're talking about, what's some of your challenges that you face in your industry? What's some of your challenges and obstacles
some of the challenges? I would say like it's not easy to get in. It's not easy to find your spot per se. So it took me a while because I used to work in different jobs, and in the back of my mind, I was always thinking, what do I enjoy doing? How do I get to do what I love doing? So I had to make a decision. So I had to take the action of choosing, okay, I need to focus in this instead of just living by, okay, I can pay my bills. This work is okay, nothing bad about it. Like, I have fun too and everything, but at the same time, it's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
So when it comes to what I want to do, I had to make a decision. So of course, the challenges, they come with it.
For sure.
So you got to have time to put in first, to learn the craft, to put yourself, dive deep into the industry. For example, I did acting courses, I did media course, I did photography courses. So I started to learn.
So you started becoming the person you wanted to become.
100%.
Yeah.
So I started to take in the knowledge, and because I had made the decision, okay, this is what I want to do. So I have to learn what I'm going to do. I can't just go, hey, I want to act, so here I am. So I have to put in my time to learn. So the challenge is, of course, taking the time to learn all that. Like you said, it takes time to learn things. So it's not, just one night, overnight thing. So the time is a challenge. And then, of course, trying to make money as well while I'm doing what I love. So I have to do side hustles, and I have to, find a way to pay the bills while I'm doing what I love. So that's a challenge for sure in the industry, because it's something that you don't really know what's going to happen, because the projects are so different from each other. So when you go to a project, okay, I have a few months in here.
Usually you need some level of capital too, right?
100%.
To make that project come to life.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So if you have a few months doing a project, then you know that you have work for that period of time. But then after that finishes, you don't really know what's next if you don't have anything lined up.
Yes.
So because in my case, I started as a freelancer.
Yeah.
So I was just doing, what I could. I'm trying to get a commercial. I'm trying to get, a feature film like extra. I'm trying to get something that will keep me going, and also networking while I'm doing it. So, while I'm doing being an extra in a series, I'm networking with people in the industry. So, hey, how do you do this? Or watching people do their thing and understanding how the industry works.
You're doing it all. Directing, acting, writing.
Directing, writing, editing, like the whole thing. So that's one of the advantages of learning the whole process, because then, you can help in whatever is needed. So if people need an actor, okay, I jump in. If they need a director, I jump in.
Yeah.
So as a cinematographer, I jump in. So I can do pretty much the whole thing.
Yeah.
And just because I put in the time to learn. So it's not just like, okay, I have a camera, but how do you use the camera? How do you, use the right lens, the right lights, and, everything else that comes with the whole production.
Yeah.
So when you have the skill set to provide, that to the production, then, okay, you're valuable, because then you can actually do all these things, and then if they need someone here or here or here, so you can allocate time for everything.
Yes.
So that's how I started to get more recognition as well, because people knew, okay, you're able to do all these different things, so I need help in this. Okay, I can come and do that. So that started to open doors for me to really get into the industry and then provide the service that I could, and also of course, it comes with, all the people that you meet, the people that give you the opportunity, because it's so difficult to get in, especially, with the big productions, it's very hard to get in. Yeah. So when you start connecting.
It's also hard, sorry to cut you off, it's also hard to have someone believe in your vision too.
100%.
Especially for what you're doing, it sounds like there needs to be a lot of backing.
Yeah, because when you're new to the industry, when you don't have a big portfolio behind you to show, okay, this is what I do, people need to give you opportunity. So if you don't have an opportunity, how do you show what you can do?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm very grateful for Mac, because he believed in myself. So he believed that I could do the job. Yeah. So he was like, okay, I know you can do the job. So, come and work with me.
Yeah.
And I was so grateful for it, because then I can show other people now, okay, this is what I'm able to achieve when put in the right setting with the right people.
Yeah.
Then you can scale that to bigger projects because then you now have something to show. Yeah.
Well, do you know what I really liked about The Rise of the Underdog was the fact that the struggle, how you captivated the struggle and what it actually takes to get the funding. And how many times he went here and went there and went here, and telling people, look, this is the script, this is what I want to do, and it became a reality, with persistence, and then it became a movie out of that, which was amazing to see because it showcases and it captures what it actually takes and bringing that into life and showing the audience that it's relatable, it's
100%. Yeah, and that's the thing as well, because when it comes to movie making, a lot of people think that you need thousands and thousands of dollars and millions of dollars to make a movie, and not necessarily. Nowadays with the independent filmmaking, if you have a camera, if you have a few lights, if you know how to use the equipment, you're able to create something very beautiful. You're able to collaborate with people, which is very important when you collaborate because, it's not just one person job. You got to collaborate with the actors, directors, the crew, everyone, the cast. And so it's that collaboration that makes it work. So when you get something, in a low budget spec, so if you have the right equipment, you can make it quite, simple in a way that you don't need to spend too much money. And that's what a lot of people, they come to me nowadays and they ask me, I want to make a short film. How do I do it? How much do I need? So it all depends on what's your vision. What's your vision for that specific project? So even, today someone called me asking questions like, how do I, budget for, I'm writing script for a short film. How much do I need? And it's very hard to say because it all comes to what do you know, first of all, in terms of, knowledge in the industry. And then who do you know, or who do you know that have a camera? Who do you know that have a place? Because when you start putting all these things down, it's like, what can I do with minimal in terms of budget? Like if I have only, let's say, $5,000, but I know someone who has a camera, I know someone who has a bar, I know someone who can act, and they all collaborate. They come together and create magic. And that's what I've done with some of my short films.
So bringing all the talent together,
Absolutely.
working with efficiency, working with talent to reduce the costs, rather than relying on spending the money.
And at the same time, you also giving opportunities for other people because, people, they need content as well. So, some of my actor friends, they come to me, hey, do you want to, do a scene together? I need something for my show reel. And of course, if I have the time, I love helping people. I've done in the past and I still do it. I don't charge anything when I get together with my friends and okay, let's just set up a camera, just have fun. That's what I do. Like I have fun. And of course, we all need money to pay bills and things, but that comes with other things as well. But when it comes to networking, to trying to get your portfolio together, and when you're starting out, it's always good to collaborate. And I love collaborating with people because you get to have fun, you get to create something. And, I like writing as well. So sometimes I write my own stuff and then I call up a friend, hey, do you want to do this scene with me? Yeah, cool, let's do it. So I enjoy that process as well. So, and it all helps me in my journey because then people see what I'm doing. They see the quality of the things that I'm doing. And then they, start to take me seriously. It's not just like, oh yeah, he's just doing for fun. No, I'm actually, taking it seriously because that's what I want to do.
Exactly.
And, it takes time to improve, but it's always, you're getting better and better and better because you're taking the chance, you're taking the action. And then, okay, if something doesn't work, what's next? What can I do better? And it just keep growing with that.
So it sounds like the right team is very important.
100%.
Yeah, same as business. Same, exactly the same. Like I'm grateful to say I've got very intelligent people in the team. It's a small team with a lot of workload. But we all pull our weight. We all show up. We all do what we need to do, and we all have consideration for one another because we're all human beings. Someone in the team might be sick or running behind in something. I always say to people, I would never want to be put in the position of a boss, bossing people around. Do this is a timeline, get it done, you're not going to get paid. Leading is much more important while, having fun, but making sure that everyone's doing what they need to do. And the delivery and the messages within our team is important too. Hey, bro, I need this done by this week. Do you think you can get it done? And understanding that we're all human beings. We all go through things. Things always come up, and to always have some strategy to say, okay, if this comes up, I'm going to do this. And so we're not going to kind of set ourselves back too much. Or face something that we're not prepared for. So preparation is very important too. And this is so what I'm getting out of this, whether it's the cinematic industry, whether it's product business, coaching, it comes down to how efficiently, effectively, and with strategy we're able to execute things, right? And having the right team is very important because it takes a huge load off. Like if someone's really crafty in say website design, development, and SEO and graphics, great. He knows what he's doing. He enjoys what he's doing. No worries, brother. This is what I need done. They take care of it. And then I'm doing the product, I'm sourcing the product research and development, going back and forward with my development team, making sure that the samples that are coming is being tested within our group and being tested with really trusted people to get their honest feedback. Because it's very easy for someone to give you good feedback because they feel bad about giving you bad feedback, right? But that doesn't do us justice. Like if something isn't as good to that standard that I'm looking for, the group of people I want them to tell me, Gurks, it could be better, right? And then I'm like, okay, I know what that means. I know exactly what I need to do because that's exactly what I was thinking. And now I'm going to go back and make it better or refine things. See, with me, what I even though I say don't chase perfection, launch, you can become better, I kind of contradict myself sometimes because I'll tell you why. Because the product isn't out there yet, and if I release it, I want to be so far ahead in at least 3 to 5 steps ahead of my competitor that they're still figuring out how I got there 3 to 5 years from now, right? I don't want to make it too easily accessible for everybody to be able to become my competitor. Like when we released our protein in 2017, by the time we had competitors, it was already 2018, 2020, and then everyone else started to kind of do the grass-fed. And people go, how do you know how to do grass-fed? Well, it's simple. You do your research and you find out that pasture-fed cows that's eating grass, converting that into milk, that's not grain-fed. It's not going to have any side effects in terms of anti-inflammatory. Because if you feed this cattle seeds and grains, that's going to cause inflammation in our body. So my background and looking into nutrition and studying nutrition, if you have a look at, grass-fed, higher in omega-3, it's good for our joints, good for our brain, good for our heart. It's not detrimental to the body. It's a lot more healthy. That's why we have a lot of people are promoting grass-fed steaks now, grass-fed everything, pasture-fed eggs, grass-fed steaks, because it's better for us. And then I said, how can I take this to the next level? How do I make it so we're avoiding all the other nasties as well? How do we remove everything else? Remove the artificial colors and flavors, remove the fillers, remove the caking agents. And then we had challenges along the way, like Gurks. Well, how are you going to make it taste good? How are you going to make it taste creamy? How are you going to make it so it's not going to go off? And so that's what our challenges were. But we found our way. And I'm not going to lie, it took me close to 5 years to do it. But hey, I've got a product that's now long and truly still on the market, and we haven't changed the formula. Since 2017, the formula is the same. It's the same high quality protein sourced from the same farms over in New Zealand. And it's selling really well. And we haven't even approached any distribution systems. We haven't even approached any stores and said, would you like to sell our products? We solely sell our products. And there's only a very few other places that I sell to because I attend these places. Like one's a recovery center, and I used to go there quite a bit to recover. I don't go as much anymore because I'm living on a different side of town. But and these are the places that we supply because we're selling it directly. Why would we want to sell it to the middleman?
Only on your website?
Yeah, only on the website. Yeah, people go on, they can create an account, they can earn points, they can come back and buy the protein at a discounted price. We give away freebies, we give away shakers, we give away, we throw in, a product if they're a long time standing customer and they spent a decent amount of money. Like last year, we had a customer, because we can go into our statistics and see who's purchased our most repeat customers. And the top 3, they always get a free product at the end of the year. Thank you, we appreciate you. Here's a free product, try that out, right? And they appreciate that. Free product, free shaker, it's on you. Thank you for coming, you know? And that's the thing. We don't want to cut down our hard work because we need to be able to provide for the people that are making this a reality. We need to be able to pay the workers in between. We need to be able to pay for everything, all the operations, all the ads, everything that goes on, all the little bits and pieces that ultimately make up for what it becomes and what it is. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, 100%. And when it comes to the team as well, like you were saying before, and it's always good to be kind to people because people, you know, they are doing the work. And, you know, when you're kind, when you help people, you know, you have that high vibration, you're not just like a boss. Like you said, you're a leader. So you're showing the way, you're getting people to help you and you're helping them as well. So it's that collaboration.
And when you put in the work and they can see you at the front of the line doing the work, they are happily following you.
Yeah, 100%.
But when you're behind them and you're pushing them forward, what did the kings do back in the day? They never used to go to the front. They used to be at the castle watching and send all their army out at the front. Only very few emperors were at the front, you know? So when you look at this, you go, okay, I don't want to be a boss. I want to be a great leader.
100%, man. That's the thing. Like you want to work with good people. You know, I want to work with people that are, you know, genuine, honest, and they take things like seriously, you know, even though we want to have fun, but it's also work. So we need to be serious, you know, so when you need something done, we need something done. But it's always, you know, it comes down to communication as well. That's one big thing that I preach when I'm working with people is like, just communicate, you know, what do you need? What are the needs? You know, what needs to be done now? What can we, you know, change here for later? You know, what's the priority? And, you know, so it all comes down to the communication.
Communication is very powerful. Communication is very powerful, and also how you choose to take the message that's being relayed to you. So this is the thing, right? People, you know, when people get offended really easily, I used to look at this and I realized something. Some people choose to get offended because really, if you just have a one-way of delivery, and it's pretty much the same for every team member, and this doesn't have to be necessarily team members. It could just be just generally talking to somebody. Like you might just be talking about a topic and someone gets triggered, and you don't even know why they're getting triggered because maybe it's something that they're relating to, but they're not necessarily happy with. So now they're like, what makes you say that? Right? And they get all touchy and they get closed off, and all of a sudden their energy changes towards you. So emotional intelligence is very important. Communication is very important. And as you said, competence is very important as well as respect. Competence and respect in business is very important because competence gets the work done and respect keeps the relationship strong. Those two things are by far very, very, very strong. Like I've had disagreements with my team, but I've also had to call them up and say, hey, listen, I've been having a bad day. I apologize for the way I delivered that message. Forgive me. Let's look past this and let's continue to do what we do. And they look at me and go, bro, I appreciate that. Because I don't want to lose a team member, especially if they're valuable in the company. So having a solid team is by far very important. And another thing that you mentioned, you know, getting it done. It's funny because we literally caught up on Saturday and we're like, we'll plan this maybe 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks. And then literally we're just like, hey, when are you free? Today, let's do it. Okay, no worries. You know, I get everything done. You know, and today I had a lot of things to do. But when you brought the opportunity, and I thought, okay, well, maybe Arthur may not be free in a week from now. Maybe he may not be free when I'm free. So another thing that I want to make note is, no matter how busy we are, if there's an opportunity that's going to benefit us, jump on that opportunity and still work and get things done that needs to be get done. Like this morning, I had to wake up extra early. I had to do all my coaching sessions. I had to do all of my emails and, you know, all the management of the team, get everything done on time, finish up, literally finished my last call when I was messaging you, jumped in the shower, cleaned up a little bit and chucked on these ripped jeans on the top. And here we are.
Just get it done.
But this is what it takes. This is literally a testament to that. Like if you want to do something, don't procrastinate, because procrastination is a killer of all dreams. You know, just do it, see how it pans out. And usually it's people create something and like they take something that's not that big and they'll make it 10 times bigger.
100%.
You know, when it's really not as complicated, they'll overcomplicate.
Yeah.
You know?
And this is a good example because, you know, sometimes people might procrastinate and don't take the chance because you could say, oh, yeah, maybe, or, well, we'll leave for next week. And then you lose that opportunity.
Yeah.
But then you take the action. Okay, let's do it. Let's get it done. Yeah. But then you're not afraid of what it is because we didn't have a script. We didn't have anything. We didn't plan anything.
Yeah.
And we spoke about, it's like, oh, what are we going to talk about? I was like, oh, I don't know. Let's just, you know, catch up and let's just go with the flow. Yeah. Whatever happens, whatever comes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't have a plan, but things just naturally happen.
Yes.
And that's what I find a lot of the times in my life. It's just by taking the chance, you know, things happen.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, stepping forward without having the step. So it's like, okay, where do I go? But I just trust that it's gonna work. So I trust that I'm going.
Yeah.
And that's exactly tonight that's it. Because, okay, let's just sit down, have a chat and see what happens.
And by the way, we're gonna tell the audience this. This is happening while there's a cyclone approaching us tomorrow. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about, an opportunity. We've got a cyclone going on. There's people running around getting prepared, buying water, buying toilet paper, buying eggs and buying this and buying that. Yeah. And here we are doing a podcast for you guys, for the audience, sharing our story so you can succeed, so you can also find a level of success in your life, so you can retire your parents and buy the car you want, get into the relationship that you'd like to get into. And that's what it takes. Take the opportunity, don't let it slip by, and just do it, right?
Awesome. In that note, I just want to say thank you for your time. And I think, you know, for tonight, that's a good chat.
Yeah, it has been. And I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for having me again.
Thanks so much, man.
And no doubt, I'm sure that we'll end up, you know.
We'll do this again soon.
Yeah, no doubt.
Awesome.
And share more.
All right.
Too easy. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Until next time, stay tuned.